get the index for each and every record which was there in your predefined structure, although that was a list, or you can use that in set or tuple or dictionary as well. So today we'll be talking about how to use enumerate function using for loop. So for loop, you everybody know that for loop we apply on a structure where we know the number of iterations. Means you can apply for loop for list, for a string, for tuple, for dictionary, and for set as well, because we can fetch the total number of records into these structures. We have a length function to do that. Using length you can get to know that what are the total number of records into that list. So for loop is basically when you know the number of iterations, and here I'll be using for loop to apply enumerate. Let me give you a basic syntax for writing this. Let's say this is our list, a sample list, for which I am going to apply enumerate using for loop. So the syntax would be something like this. For, this is the starting of your loop, and then the temporary variable. Temporary variable you can use any name. I am just using I. It's not a fixed keyword. You can use any name here. For I in, why we are using in keyword? Because we want to check in each and every record into this list using enumerate. So enumerate function would be here. Enumerate, and where you want to apply this enumerate, I want to apply this to this particular list, which is st underscore name and then colon. So each and everything which is enumerated is going to this structure or this space. So I want to print output of this enumerate, and which is there into this I. So I'll print I, and the output would look something like this: 0, Aman, 1, Sam, 2, Dipin, and so on. So you simply get the index and the record, and you can apply this for any length of the list or any length of iterators. So here I want to explain you what is I. Just to understand this, I am giving you an example. Let's say I am giving you 5, 6 and 7. These are 3 numbers, and I want you to add 2 to each of them. So what you are doing? You are doing calculation in your memory. So you simply think like this: 5, and then I need to add 2 to this, and you are putting that to a particular place, and then that particular virtual memory in your mind only. So what the process which is happening to this part, you think over it. You are adding 2 to the 5, then 2 to the 6 and 7, and then after making all the calculations, you are saying that yes ma'am, it is 7, 8 and 9. So the process which you apply to make this calculation, you have used a memory. In case you don't have that memory, how you will be making that calculation? In that particular space, you will be letting me know one by one. 5 plus 2 is 7, then you again add 6 plus 2 is 8. So that space is needed to make the calculation. And the same thing is I doing here. I is simply like a virtual space or the memory which you provide to make any calculation. And that is not a fixed keyword. You can use any name here. So now you understand what is I, and you also understand that I is not a fixed keyword. Let's say for this example only, I want to enumerate this in a way that all the indexes should be to a different location and all the records should be to a different location. So in place of one virtual memory, I'll be using 2 memories. So the syntax would be something like this: I, J, N, enumerate, and then st underscore name, colon, and what you will be printing? Print I and J. So the process which is happening there is quite similar to this. Let's say I am saying you need to add first 2 to each of the record, then 3 to each of the record. So you need 2 space to that part. First you will be adding 2 to each and every one, then that you will be putting that to that location or to your memory, then you will be adding 3, and then you would be putting to that particular location. So you need 2 virtual memory. Here as well, in case you want to store your index to a specific location, and record to a different location. So you will be needing two virtual spaces. So the output should be something like this: 0, Aman, 1, Sam, 2, and Dipin. Because here I have given two spaces, two virtual memories which are here. I'll be showing some more example using Python. Let's move ahead with the Jupyter.
So in continuation with this, as we applied this on list, so let's run the same example here as well. Let me create a list, student name, and there are certain names into this list. Let's say Aman is there. Aman is there, and then I'm using a different name which is Ronak, and let's say Sam, and let's say Dipin. So I want to enumerate this part. Its name should be something like this, no hyphen. This is my list. I want to enumerate each and everything. So you understand the difference between enumerating this using list and using for loop. So in case you are enumerating this using a list function, so the syntax would be something like this: list, enumerate, and this the name of his list is student name, and you simply want to start it from 0 only, and here is the output. You got it? So the same you want to apply using for loop. So for I is not a fixed keyword. Let's say I'm using a different keyword which is test. For test, in enumerate function, where you want to apply this enumerate to this list, and colon is the part of syntax, and you print test. So as I said, test is like a virtual memory that you that you give to your mind to make certain calculation. In case we do not have that memory, so how you will be making that calculation? So test, what test is doing? Test is doing nothing, simply everything which you have stored into this, you are applying enumerate function and you are storing again to this location, to this memory, which is test. So here is the output. So you know how to enumerate using list and using for loop. Let's say you want to give a start name here as well. So the syntax would be something like this. Let me copy this code, and here it is, and I want to start it from a different index. Let's say I want to start from 10. So I'll run this code. Here it is. So you can use this start into for loop as well, because that belongs to the syntax of enumerate, that does not belongs to for loop. So obviously if you are applying enumerate under for loop, you can use the whole syntax of enumerate. Let's say as I have given you the two examples, so two example in this way for test comma check, these are the two memories which I'm applying here in enumerate. And what you want to enumerate? This list, and the starting position should be, let's say, 100. You can use any, or in case you are not providing that, so it will take a default value which is 0. So print these two temporary variable which is test and check, and once you run this, here it is, because the starting position you have customized 100, so it will start from 100. So now you observe the difference between when we have used single variable here and here we have used two variables. So it's up to you how you want your output. Let's say you are storing this to a different location, so here it is like a single record, or you can say like it's combined into a tuple. So enumerate you will be using in this way. In case of any confusion, let's say you want to check, either I can apply for loop enumerate to any structure, let's say tuple or a set. So let me create a tuple as well. So tuple, let's say TP is the name of tuple, and I am assigning certain values to this. Let's say hello code Python, these are the sample string, and then I'm applying enumerate using for loop here. So for I in enumerate, what you want to enumerate? TP, which is a tuple, and you simply print this, print I. Here is the output, no changes at all. In case you want to change the start position, so you can give any value here, and here is the output. That's it. Let's say I need to apply this to a dictionary as well. So you try it using dictionary and set. In case of any confusion or any doubt, you feel free to write me in a comment box. I'll be coming up with some new videos as well. Guys, in case you are facing some problem with the basic concepts of Python and you really do not understand what is the use case, please let me know. I'll try to make a separate video for that part. So thank you guys. That's it.